This podcast is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen of Central Pennsylvania. With a new year may come new windows or doors, and you can currently get $400 off every window and $800 off every door at Renewal by Andersen of Central Pennsylvania from now through January 31st. Call 717-727-7558 or drop by rbacentralpa.com/deals for more information. State officials are starting to take precautionary measures against deepfakes. Meanwhile, DUI arrests during New Year's weekend were down compared to last year. A space robotics company is shooting for the first U.S. moon landing in over 50 years. Finally, this year's butter sculpture has been revealed. I'm Claudia Dimuro, and you're listening to Today in PA. State lawmakers have started to craft offensive strategies against deepfakes and other deceptive forms of artificial intelligence in politics, reports the Erie Times News. Several officials recently introduced a bill that would ban videos and other media that fraudulently depicts public officials as well as candidates and programs as a means to quell disinformation during, say, elections. Anyone who creates these deepfakes faces fines of up to $50,000 at the state level, $250,000 at the federal. Says one of the representatives who introduced the bill, Bob Mursky, quote, "We want to make sure that voters are getting authentic messaging and that they're not being deceived." State police made 326 DUI arrests over New Year's weekend, down from last year's 356, reports the York Dispatch. Crashes were down as well, 336 in comparison to 481. Additionally, areas such as Lancaster County, for the third year in a row, actually, reported 0 fatal crashes. The Apollo space program's last flight happened back in the 70s, states the Associated Press. Over half a century later, Pittsburgh-based astrobotic technology is going to give a moon landing another go. The company will make the first attempt since the Apollo to get the U.S. back into the moon race on Monday, when it plans on lifting off a lander aboard a brand new rocket called the Vulcan. And Astrobotic isn't the only one trying to reach the moon. Intuitive Machines down in Texas and Japan are both working on their own moon missions. If Japan succeeds, it'll become the 5th country to pull it off. Says Astrobotics Chief Executive John Thornton, quote, "It's going to be a wild, wild ride." And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, says PennLive. This year's farm show butter sculpture has been revealed. The over 1,000 pounds of lard was shaped by sculptors Jim Victor and Marie Pelton with this year's theme, connecting our communities in mind. The result is what looks like a family seated around a table full of food with a city in the background and a couple of pigs nearby. Says local dairy farmer Walt Moore, quote, "Every year, the butter sculpture provides us with a creative opportunity to tell our story." Happy Friday, you guys. And if you're headed to the farm show, have a wonderful time. Also, have a milkshake for me, please. To stay up to date over the weekend, drop by PennLive.com. Also, please don't forget to rate this podcast on either Apple or Amazon and to share it around with your family and friends. Thanks in advance, and as always, thanks for sticking with us. I'm Claudia Dimuro, and I'll be back next week for more Today in PA. This podcast is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen of Central Pennsylvania. With a new year may come new windows or doors, and you can currently get $400 off every window and $800 off every door at Renewal by Andersen of Central Pennsylvania from now through January 31st. Call 717-727-7558 or drop by rbacentralpa.com/deals for more information.